Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and I'm joined with Miguda and also the good friends of the internet too. Miguda, habari ya Friday?
Leo ni Alhamisi.
Eh,
Naweza sema tu pali niko iko vyema, ni
mm,
vile hapo unajua jana tulikuwepo na tarehe moja, leo tarehe
mhm,
mbili, na kesho kwa mapenzi ya
mhm,
Mungu pia ni siku ya Sabato, na pia ningependa kama Mola amejalia kesho niamke vizuri, niende ni
mhm,
mwabudu siku ya kwanza ya Sabato ya mwaka. Lakini nasema tu leo hii Alhamisi kuna malalamishi nimepata hapa na pale wakati nilikuwa natembea.
mm,
Unapata ya
mm,
kwamba wazazi haswa wako na kizungumkuti sasa hivi. Wengine wanapeleka watoto kwa kinyozi kunyolewa, wengine wanaenda kwa
eh,
duka za viatu, duka za kununua vitabu, duka za
mm,
kununua sare za shule. Sasa
mm.
mambo ni mengi, watu wako na mahitaji mengi, pesa pia ni kama iliisha wakati wa Krismasi. Sasa ni Alhamisi noma sana.
Unajua huwa ni kitu ambacho kinatokea sana sana baada ya watu kusherekea Christmas. Unapata kwamba unajua vizuri kwamba baada ya kusherekea kuna watoto wataenda shule, so unapata kwamba saa zingine inakuwa ni vigumu sana, si kwa sababu labda wengine hawana hela, lakini kulingana na mnyenyenyiko wa watu, yani tuseme kwamba kwa hayo maduka ambayo yanauza vitu ambazo zinaambatana na vitu za shule, unapata kwamba watu wako wengi. Hata najua hata kwamba wale ambao watakuwa na safari kuelekea Nairobi, wale ambao walikuwa wameenda kusherekea Christmas nyumbani ushago, tuseme hivyo, hata bei ya kupanda basi itakuwa imeenda juu zaidi, so inakuwa ni mambo imechangamka sana ama imechemka sana kwa wale pia, na kwa wale pia wanaenda shule. Unapata kwamba sijui kama hii jambo ilikuwa imekutokea wakati ambapo sisi tulikuwa katika shule ya upili. Unapata kwamba ukitaka kuenda shule labda imebaki hata siku 2 siku 3, hapo ndo unaona kama vitu vizuri vizuri vipo, yaani unashindwa na umekaa karibu uh, uh, wiki 4, lakini za mwisho yani ujisikii kutoka kwenda shuleni. Sijui mbona haya yanatokea.
Hayo ni maneno ya ukweli. Unajua umekaa mwezi miwili,
eh,
kama sasa hivi wanakaa mwezi miwili,
eh,
alafu sasa wakati shuleni Jumatatu. Sasa
eh,
mambo yako mazuri leo, kesho wanafaa wafungue shule tarehe 12, wanafaa wasongeshe wiki moja. Nikauliza, kwani miezi miwili yote bado nataka tu waongeze tena 1 week? Ni kama watu sasa, mambo ni matamu hapo. Ndio
eh,
sasa kama wewe unapata rafiki yako msichana mgeni, unapata
eh,
girlfriend mpya unapata kama disco matanga iko
eh,
hasa kama wale wenye wako boarding schools.
na labda kama tuseme kwamba unasema kwamba labda matanga ipo, lakini sasa ile disco matanga inakuja, unapata kwamba wale ambao wanakuja kuomboleza na nyinyi labda ni wale ambao wanatoka sehemu mbali, na kwa kawaida na mila na desturi za hizo unapata kwamba wanatoka na wale wasichana wageni, wanakuja na wasichana wao, na unajua hapa pia mtakuwa umejiandaa, lakini unapata hiyo ndio siku unaenda shule, utashangaa. Eh?
Unapata warembo wametoka Nairobi na hiyo siku za
Eh,
shule,
eh,
mambo inakuwa kali sana.
eh. Okay, naona ndugu yetu leo anasema atakuwa na kuja kwa dakika 20. Tutamsubiri hapa ili tukuwe na mjadala na yeye. Hiyo ni mzuri Miguda. Mambo iko mingi sana. Wacha nikupeleke sana sana nikupatie habari za mjini. Unajua mjini pia kuna habari. Habari za mjini. Tunaanza na tunasema habari za kimataifa. Lazima pia tuende kimataifa zaidi. Yeah? Habari za kimataifa ndio hii sasa mimi nataka kukupatia hapa. hapa ni kutoka Saudi Arabia and ndasoma haya. Kisii woman working in Saudi Arabia dies after final plea for help. A young Kenyan woman from Kisii County, identified as Joyce Divana, has died while working as a housewife in Saudi Arabia days after sharing an emotional appeal for help online. Joyce had traveled to the Gulf countries in search for better opportunities. She later fell seriously ill, and during a TikTok live interview spoke about her deteriorating health, saying she was struggling to breathe and urgently needed a medical attention. In the interview, Joy stated that she was alone in her employer's house at the time, and despite informing her employer about her condition, she had not been taken to hospital. She described experiencing chest complications and severe pain as her condition worsened. She passed away hours after live stream, while live stream, which has since circulated widely on social media, triggering grief and outrage among Kenyans who followed her story. Joyce Divana death has once again raised concerns over safety, medical access, and welfare of Kenyans working in the Middle East. Miguda, what can you say about this?
That's very unfortunate. A very sudden incident. First, also let me accept the correction by our good friend Judith. Today is Ijumaa. Today is Friday. You know, these Kiswahili things are somehow confusing to me. But anyway, thanks for that correction. And I also hi to you, Judith Karita. Welcome to the show, and a happy New Year for this far. It's very sad incident from what you have read from me. You know, it means that we have discussed these things before. The interests of the citizens or the interests of us, you find that sometimes when we could be hosting people here, we tend to take first attention to them, be it medical, be it whatever. Even if you go to our hospitals locally here, they tend to be given first priority. Even in our transportation, they are being transferred. The fact that they are from abroad, they access first-hand facilities in this country, even if they are household. I don't know, it's just about mentality. But all in all, you find out that other than mentality also, there are times whereby if you are outside the country and there is an incident like what you have said, there's not that instant attention. So you find out that it is always not that correct. So according to me, bro, I just want to say that it is somehow prudent to ensure that all lives across matters, not only all lives, but the fact that we need some attention, like medical attention or other attention, be it locally or abroad. It should be first consideration, even when it's emergency.
Okay, Miguda, something that we have to agree here, especially issue to do with Kenyans who, especially that are in Gulf countries, especially the Saudi, who have gone to look for better life, especially as a household. You know, the life of human being or the life of a person must be treated with a lot of care, and it's especially some of the employees who are employing Kenyans. You know, one thing that I think that they treat the Kenyans who have gone to assist them with house duties or the house helps as second human being, that their life doesn't matter. Because if somebody is sick, you know, why would you not find a way in which this person can get proper medical care? You know, and she was live while doing that. Then she passes on, and this one still boils down to government, especially to government and agencies that are using this, or agencies who are processing all the Kenyans who are going abroad or who are going to the Gulf nations, especially to work as house help. There's some kind of, I think, it's a penalty that should be put on this agency, that if you're taking this person, if any person is feeling sick, you have to make sure, because this is not the first time that a Kenyan is losing her life in this kind of circumstances. It has happened, How many times have we talked about, or we've seen this idea of Kenyan complaining on how they're sexually being harassed when they're there? Yeah. How many times have you had that your passport, sometimes you don't even have your passport. So sometimes you want to come back home because you feel it is not working for you. Yeah, it is not working for you. And something that people also have to understand: if you see somebody leaving a country to go abroad to look for job, yeah, imefika mahali yani hakuna, ameamua kuenda kufanya kwa hizo nini, lazima pia waheshimike. So kwa hayo yote, serikali lazima wajibike kwa mambo kama haya, kwa sababu kama ule mtu ambaye alikuwa naishi na yeye, kama ilikuwa ni mtu ambaye anathamani maisha ya mtu, angeona jinsi huyu angetafuta matibabu ya dharura, kwa sababu chest complaints, mtu akianza kucomplain hiyo, those are very very critical, that needs urgency, matibabu ya dharura. So hawa watu kuna venye hawaheshimu, hawathamani maisha ya Wakenya ambao wameenda kuwasaidia. Wanaona tu kama ukoloni mambo leo. Unajua ukoloni, ukiangalia hata jinsi Wakenya walikuwa ama Waafrika walikuwa wanateswa wakati wa ukoloni, and this is what we call the modern slavery. That's how it works. This is so modern. How can somebody complain that they are sick to an extent whereby even they go online, then after that online, somebody just loses her life on something that could have been prevented, yeah, if we were very proactive, So I think these are some issues that we should at some point make sure that the government take stand action, especially on the agencies who are doing this, with conditionality, that in case any Kenyan fall sick or they feel ill, medical attention should be the number one priority. That is what I think.
Okay, before we proceed, I'd like to agree with you on that issue, that the burden shift to government, because first, as a government, they have a duty to ensure that we are all safe internally and externally. When we export our labor, in our Labor and Relations Act, there is provisions on how one can be taken care of, whether internally or externally, in terms of wages or in terms of medical insurance, such things. Because when we are out, such critical condition, that when our people are abroad externally, and there is that legislation that actually is there, I think they should just enforce it and emphasize that whenever any Kenyan is abroad, such things should be taken care of. But it is the duty of the government through the Foreign Affairs Ministry to ensure that Kenyans are saved. They are safe. They are safe health-wise, wherever internally or externally. The issue of universal coverage, so that whenever a company has hired you to work for them abroad, they have to ensure that all the cover, they are in line. Not that people are just doing it locally. This issue of doing things for the sake of doing it, because of the condition she has applied to a work abroad, then all those mistreatment, the way you have seen some sexually abused, all, it should be taken care of and guarantee that once I'm abroad, I'm safer internally and externally.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I'm seeing Makobura. How are you doing? Hello, Makobura.
Yes, good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Labda nyinyi hapo na nawasalimu pia.
Okay, we are talking of a Kenyan lady who comes from Kisii County, who has lost her life after complaining about the health issue. What can you say about?
That is not a strange thing because we've witnessed such AI in Kenya. We've seen that the lives of the people of Kenya are not really taken serious by the government, and that is why part of the reason why we've always seen demonstration is because people are trying to remind the leadership that they have a role of protecting their citizens. And I remember the president also took an oath of first taking care of the entire citizens of the Republic of Kenya. And that is very key. As a president, he needs to ensure that any Kenyan, in whichever place that they are safe and that they are guaranteed, their safety is guaranteed. And that is why we have always given an example here about the United States of America. Should their citizens go to any country, or should their citizens have problems in whatsoever, in whichever country, we've always seen a swift move by the government of America to either rescue or to assist its citizens. How I wish that the president, in a similar way, if you remember when he was taking the oath, how he promised that he would protect the people of Kenya and that their safety would be number one thing according to the plans that he had. It's unfortunate. We've seen Kenyans being assaulted, we've seen Kenyans being killed, we've seen Kenyans being denied medical attentions in the Gulf countries. We've seen Kenyans going to look for job there, but most of them coming back as a cargo or in caskets. And, this is one of the complaints that we've seen all over the Republic of Kenya. And what really makes me wonder is that with the many cries, with the many calls from the people, we've never seen any adequate we've never seen any serious thing that is done by this government. We've seen people collecting money via the social medias. We've seen people recording themselves on how they are suffering, requesting for the government to come for their rescue. We've never seen a government going to rescue such people. And then with the continuity of the high status of the economy in the Republic of Kenya, of course, people are going out to look for jobs, opportunities, because you cannot stay somewhere where you have nothing. And remember, you have got basic needs that has to be catered for. So people, as much as they know there are sufferings outside there is some hope that, maybe if they get there, they'll be able to cater for their basic needs. And that is why you are still seeing people still going to these particular countries, as much as the country's environment are hostile and are not favorable to them. That is my take.
Thank you so much, Makobura, for that. And this is not the first time, as we said earlier, this is not the first time that it's happening. And a way in which, like, Kenyans especially, our sisters, our daughters, our mothers who have gone to work in those areas, just to earn a living, especially on how they're being treated, and we know they continue to happen, and so many of them are losing their lives. So I think it is high time, as President talked about the Singapore. These are some of the things that you should look at. How can we go to a first world country where our people, our sons and daughters, or our daughters are going to assist with the house help, then they end up dying mysteriously on things that can be prevented, And I think one of the conditionality that even the government should put in place, that if all Kenyans who are going to work abroad, especially those are going to assist with house help, they have to provide the insurance cover for them, because sometimes they do not have insurance cover, especially when you're working as a house help. Yeah. But how are you going to deal with issues to do with health, especially emergency things like chest complaints from the chest? You don't know even what is happening, you know. So I think the government need to do better, and even the agencies that have been licensed to operate or to carry out those processes, I think they should do better. It is very, 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 very sad that each and every time when we go to diaspora news, especially what we listen for or what we get, the news we get Kenyans who are battling for their lives on things that can be prevented or things that we can be proactive of. All right, thank you so much. We also have one of the breaking news, and this one still is not very new, but they just do happen, especially when you come to Nairobi. This is what is happening. 16-story building collapses in Nairobi South C during construction. The building on Muhoho Avenue came down around 5 a.m. Friday, trapping possibly 2 to 4 people, including security guards, under debris. Approved for 12 floors in late 2013, and it had gone down. It had grown to 14 to 16 story, despite repeated stop orders in 2025. That developer ignored. Officials from the National Construction Authority confirmed non-compliance by Urban Consulting Limited and pledged a full probe as politicians demand accountability amid unconfirmed casualty report. How can you demand accountability? And this house was supposed to be 12-story building, and it has gone up to 16. Does it mean that nobody was seeing this one going to 16? Yeah. So let me just read for you something here. This is something that has been written by Robert Alai. I quote in his Express. 2 guards and 2 Bolt drivers plus their passengers are reportedly killed in the South Sea building collapse. I'm told that this building was built on LR number 2209 stroke 5909 stroke 10, was initially approved for 12 floors. 5 more floors were added after a bribe of Kenya shillings 25 million was shared among county officers within the Nairobi County Physical Planning Department. Officers who should be held responsible, I quote, this is something from Robert Alai. I'm reading Robert Alai, Chief Office Planning Director of Planning / County Planner, Assistant Director Development Control Office, County Building Inspectors, all this. Some of these crimes they can be charged with include manslaughter, all this, and the building is down. This is not the first time we are experiencing this in the country. We've always experienced it. And you know, it tells you how our country thrives on corruption. That people are not law-abiding citizens. They do not at any point obey the rules and regulations that are put in place, provided that you can be given money and you sacrifice that for your country. And look at now Kenyans who have lost their lives just because somebody decided, sitting in an office somewhere, decided to take a bribe. Makobura, what is your take on this?
Again, this is not the first time that we are hearing of such instances. You've seen a lot of lack of professionalism in all these departments, and especially the departments which require approval from the county or the government officials. We've always seen kickbacks being used as a way of escaping the realities or escaping the right route that should be followed. The worst part of it is that if you start maybe doing your investigation, you'll realize that this kickback is something that is taken from the junior to the senior officials. And this is a typical form of corruption. And if the people of Kenya have always called out corrupt leaders, and I can tell you, in all these departments where in all these departments where Simba can kindly mute. Yeah, so in all these departments where approvals of government is required, we've always seen it is not just within the construction department. Remember the buildings that were being done in Kileleshwa. There's an embassy that even complained about the diversion of sewer lines that are being done in Kileleshwa. There are so many high-rise buildings in Kileleshwa, which part of it, there are serious complaints from the people or the citizens, which part of it, we've noted that the right approval was not followed, and the buildings ended up being erected aimlessly without considering that there are a structural way on how they should be placed within those places. But again, remember, in Nairobi, Nairobi is always a controlled area where if you want to do a building, there are so many processes that are involved. And look at, for example, Easily, there are buildings all over, and the buildings are too tall. And remember, years ago, the buildings were not supposed to be as tall as they are today because of the nearest that it is. The nearest army base that is within that particular area. But all those things today are not being considered. People are just doing what they want. People are going for approvals. Approvals are given, wrong approvals, and they've always succeeded in doing what they want. So it is lack of seriousness from the government side. It is lack of seriousness on the relevant people, and all these are forms of corruption. Corruption, it's playing its bet. Itself in these particular departments.
Thank you so much, Makobura. And let me also take this opportunity to welcome our brothers, Simba Nataya. As you know, Simba Nataya is usually brand ambassador for Tutam. We are here with him. Thank you so much for joining. Miguda, maybe in brief, if you can also give your thought, especially on what has happened in South Sea. We know the building was supposed to be 12-story building, but the sources say it went to 16. And you want to tell me like the people who are in charge, they did not know that that building was violating the law, and there were several attempts to tell them, no, you're not doing, but they still go ahead. Then, what can you say about that?
Okay, I just want to say that based on the search and also on the terms that should be followed by the people, the engineer, and the owner of the buildings, we understand that a National Construction Authority has a issue outlines whereby there are some areas you cannot have a story building, but if you must have story building, it must be of a certain capacity or maximum. How many floors do you want to have? Having all those in mind, as someone who has have a property, you must do your search diligently. And after doing your search diligently, and also you must also align with the county government provisions on how to construct your building. You have to do a lot of things in terms of you must do search even in pipeline, even electricity, how high should you construct other things. I think those things were in consideration. Now the burden of shift will go back to the owner or the engineers, because if at all they were bribed or they allowed them to do so because of the big man syndrome, that is contrary, because right now you have seen now it has caused death. So when death has occurred, it means that now the people are liable are the people who never align or do according to the provisions, the county government, and also in the land register, because those are the things that factors you should consider before having a property. You must go and do due diligence search, not only search in terms of the physical search, but also you must do other search, like I've told you, the municipality search, whereby you must know even if that property has gone to the riparian land. Maybe there was government land there before. So I think because now damage has been caused, so those are the importance of doing not only physical search but also municipal search, so that to avoid such deaths. So I think the people or the owner, the engineer will be answerable. Also, if they could have conspired with the National Construction Authority, because you never know whether the municipal permitted them to do so.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Miguda. But like, I'm seeing something here by the MP for Langata. This is Felix Odior, aka Jalango. We unequivocally demand the immediate and total suspension of all construction activities in South Sea and Nairobi westwards. This halt must remain in effect until further approval. Safety audits and compliance verifications are concluded by all relevant authorities. That continues to disregard for construction regulations. And Makobura, and those regulations, you know, and my issue with the member of parliament is this, Miguda. Does it mean that when all, because like you need to have information, does it mean that when this building was taking shape, or the initial stages, you knew there was a building that was constructed, you had all the information, and even when this building was getting to around from 12 to 16, that is 4 more story, does it mean that you did not have any information about the building as a member of parliament, because that one falls within your constituency?
Not necessarily that they never had information, because within your constituency you understand whatever is going on, and the people are within the constituency to alert you that even the people who are passing by could have noticed that it has gone beyond the expected maximum, the one which is provided with the authority. So that's why I'm saying, after deaths occur, that's now all the relevant authorities who are supposed to be ensuring that it is in accordance with the provision of the law, right now subjected to questions. That's what the JALAS is doing. It's now subjecting all the relevant authorities to question. But remember, there is a provision, I've told you, there's municipal provision, and also in the land register, there's provision on how to construct a property at particular area with the maximum provisions, and even the types of properties you should use to do so. So if all those things were not put into consideration, right now it is beyond what JALAS is doing, because it should be from the word go. Even right now, not bringing all the story buildings down. Like what suggesting, like you want to bring all them down, but from the word go, they should have considered. So I can say, to me, finally, I just want to say it was negligence. It is just negligence by the people who are supposed to do that.
It is not about negligence. I agree. Okay, I agree with that. It is that one negligence. I agree with that, and it's also about the accountability and responsibility for leadership that we have, and even the people. Somebody who is doing construction, the contractor was given the job to do. You knew very well that what was approved, and you ended up, you know. That tells you how our society is so much rotten. Even not even the government, even the citizens themselves, they just decide not to respect the regulations that are put in place. Because you cannot tell me, Miguda, you cannot convince me when this contractor was going for 16 story, knowing very well that it was approved for 12. So he did not know that this thing was going on. It tells you that he was doing it after providing something, you know, corruption. Alitoa pesa, akatoa pesa, akasema wacha tuongeze 5. Na there's somebody who approved that. Mtu akakwambia wewe ukishatoa pesa wewe enda, sisi ndio sisi ndio watu ambao sisi ndio kusema. Ndio sisi ya kusema, then you look what is happening. If you wanted 16, you could have gone for the 16, get approved if you have the money to construct. But why are you cheating along the way? So, and even tamaa, kwa sababu in the first place, hata kama ungemaliza, Wakenya wangekuwa wanaishi hapo. Kwa siku nyingine ama at some point, the building could have collapsed because it has gone against the regulation, which means you're killing. And this person, Miguda, you are in the law fraternity. The contractor should be charged with manslaughter and murder. I think that is the best thing. Hii hapa hakuna sijui bado you want to do investigation.
Okay, I get you very well, because when the construction was going on, it means that these people conspired to do what is contrary to the provision of the law. Maybe there could be someone in the city hall who could give them a go ahead that we are the big ones in town.
Hebu nikatie 1 hour hivi.
I'm good.
Ujamute, Brother Benson, you should have mute. I'm saying maybe there could be someone who could be in the city hall, or in that city hall, that person could have approved that, okay, you go ahead, I'm here, nothing will happen. So, because now the death has occurred, that's not people are realizing, okay, it was 16-story building. So if there could be no death, or it could have not collapsed, it means it could have just been there. That's what I'm trying to argue. It has only come to our attention because it has collapsed and death has occurred. Right now, people say, okay, it wasn't supposed to be 16, it was supposed to be 12, or who permitted so and so, bring that person, or the relevant should. But what if it could have not collapsed, or what if the people could have not died? It could have been there. So I think that is what we are saying. Yeah, the issue of accountability, and also some people also knew very well that they are supposed to do the right thing, but they just decided not to do the right thing.
Okay, and that's why now I don't agree with what the area member of parliament, Jalango, was saying, because if the way you're putting it, the way you're putting it, that if the building could have not collapsed, I don't think Jalango could have come out and say that, okay, well, now we need all these building and the construction that are taking place, they need to be halted so that audit can be done. Yeah, but since it has collapsed, and now they want to remain relevant in the public to see that their leaders who are working, no, they've failed. That is what I can say. He has failed terribly, because this is in your constituency. You knew about this is going on, and now you're coming up and telling that they need to do that. So that is what I think for me. Okay. Thank you so much. That because I was seeing Wiki wanted to join, but the problem is where he is at is kind of like is walking, and the noise that is coming, he will be capturing. So let him get in a very safe area whereby he will be in a quiet serenity. Then we can continue. All right, thank you so much, Miguda, and Makobura also is coming in. There's also something that also we need here. I don't want to dive in it, but it's something that we have to talk about. This is what is happening. Doctors at Kenyan Prophet event claim HIV healings, drawing outrage. I think you met it. Videos from the Menengai 8 event show the doctor discussing HIV hiding spots before suggesting prayers led to negative test for previous positive women, backed by hospital record, like from those like those from Kenyatta National Hospital. National Hospital. Owor, who leads the Ministry of Repentance and Holiness, insists on strict verification, including PCR test over 12 months, with support citing 12 volunteer medics, a long-standing claims since 2004. Critics demand, haya Miguda hii hata siwezi soma. Wapo watu walienda, miujiza imefanyika. Inasema kwa wale ambao walikuwa wanaugua ugonjwa wa ukimwi, kulingana na yale vitu ambazo zilitoka katika kwa madaktari ambao walikuwa pale, wamesema kwamba wamepona. Na juzi pia hapo pia tukaona pale mtu pia aliponyeshwa, ule mtu alikuwa anatembea alikuwa ameponywa akaanza kutembea. Ni hayo maneno ambayo tuko nayo katika dunia ya saizi. Miujiza zinafanyika, hatuwezi uliza ama tuwezi sema mambo ya Mungu, lakini mimi sijui, labda tu I don't know. Miguda, uko na la kusema?
Unanisikia? Nasema miujiza hufanyika na miujiza hutendeka, lakini lakini siwaende tu hospitali watibu, waende tu hospitali pale waende pale Kenyatta watibu hao watu wote watoke. Kwani tuko na watu wengi hospitali na kuna miujiza? Hata yule mkubwa wao unajua, alikuwa anaugua magoti akaenda tu kufanyiwa surgery ng'ambo.
Unajua, mimi Miguda, hapa lazima sasa tukue wa ukweli. I believe in prayers and I believe that prayers can move the mountains. Yeah? And there are testimonies that we can testify, especially in our lives, that we can especially call the hand of God. For instance, I usually say this: sometimes you find yourself flying like 14 hours on a flight. And, and when you are up there, like flight is one of the most scary, especially when you are up there. If something happens, you're gone. But you find that you can fly even like around 6 years with you flying and landing safely. And you say that there's somebody who controls our lives. You have to question, we have to question that who is this? You have that supernatural being that controls your life. And what happened, there's so many people who are suffering from the same, and they need that prayers. If that one can happen, why can't we go to the hospital where we have our brothers and sisters and mothers who are suffering from the same, and just let them offer them prayer so that they can get healed? We have so many of our brothers and sisters who are disabled. And if prayers, you believe in that prayer can move them. Anyway, religion is one of the biggest issue that if we start to discuss, then I don't know whether we can reach our, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. All right, thank you so much. Leo, how are you doing, sir?
Right, let me work on the mic. Hello, how are you, Benson?
We are doing fine. How is your new year? Long time.
My new year is good. I'm of course grateful. The year has not started bad. It started well. I think today is the second day. Things are moving on. We are now in 2026, so we are hopeful that things are going to be better than the way they were 2020.
Okay, that's very good, because every Kenyan and everybody wants things to change when it comes to, especially in 2026. Those that did not work, we would want to see them work, and we also want to see great improvement on various sector of Kenya. Especially, we want to see improvement in the health sector, education, and everywhere, and including economy. We cannot go without talking about that, but that's okay. Makobura, do you have as we wait for Leo, because I think it's Stark is organizing his. I don't want you to maybe. Do you have anything to say about what happened at the event, the crusade, that there was the guy who walked, and some of our brothers and sisters who were suffering from HIV, they were healed. Miracle happens.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm a believer. I believe I believe in miracles and I believe in religion.
Yeah.
But to some extent, I think in the world, we've seen quite a number of people getting into cult activities,
Mm.
and they're seeking for some powers using cult activities. And then they're coming out to pretend that they're genuine followers of Christ and they want to do miracles that are true. But the truth of the matter is that the world of religion is currently invaded by, I can call them the cultism members. And they're really coming out to behave as if they're the true people who have been sent. They're the true religious people. They're lying to the people. They are receiving quite a huge number of followers here and there. And to me, I think the people are also suffering. And religion is also a tool that can be used to positively impact on the environment or to negatively. And I think these people are using it negatively. They are getting into, they're trying to convince these people who have lost hope. And they're trying to tell them that things are working. And instead of giving them the right way of hope, now they're getting to extorting them. You find that people are selling land because they're being told that wakilipa sadaka, they're going to get prosperity. I think the religion the religious leaders today, majority of them are coming up with this narrative. They're preaching the gospel of riches. But the truth of the matter is that Jesus Christ taught the gospel of I can call it the gospel of poverty, because in the many instances, remember the Beatitudes. Remember what Jesus used to say. He used to say that he's more interested in those people who have lost hope. He's more interested in those people who are poor. He's more interested in those people who have no title.
Yeah.
But if you see the kind of gospel that is being taught, is a gospel of riches. A gospel where you will be told that ukilipa sadaka leo by kesho, utakuwa rich. And people are falling for it. People are falling for it because people are not patient enough. The God that we are serving is, you have to be patient. You cannot pray today, ask for something today, and expect it to be given at that particular moment. And I don't know how people have been brainwashed to an extent that they want to pray today and they want the answer today. If you are not going to give them, you're not going to tell them that your God has said is going to give them today, then they will leave. And that is why you are seeing all these people. These people have entered into cult. They're coming, innocent people are going to them. They're being told that, my God has said that you pay this amount, and after paying this amount, you're going to get wealth, or you're going to get whatever you want. And people are getting into this, and it's so unfortunate. I think we need to pray for the world so that we get delivered from all these cult leaders who are coming out to pretend to be religious leaders.
All right, thank you so much. My brother Leo, maybe I don't know whether you can weigh your thoughts on, especially not so deep, but especially when it comes to religion and what we are seeing happening,
Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Very well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Of course, it's a good evening. Yeah, I started by appreciating the fact that we are able to wind up 2025 and start 2026. But when it comes to religion, most of the time I normally want to reserve my opinions. I don't know why. I always don't want to sound blasphemous or to be seen as if I'm interfering with people's belief. Because one thing I know, that religion is normally a belief that is founded, it is normally founded and based on belief and perception as the fundamental components of religion. It's about what you believe in and what you perceive. It doesn't have anything factual that can be maybe proved beyond reasonable doubt. That is why, me as an African pope or somebody who believed in the African religion and African traditions, I normally don't want to poke holes on other people's beliefs, because they also have some weaknesses or some of the things that they feel that we are not doing right. And that is why when they introduce this kind of colonial religion in the name of Islam and Christianity, they first of all had to falter by African religion so that they introduce there deeply. But thank God there are some of these other religious beliefs that found it fit to incorporate both the African tradition into their religion. It's all about what people believe, what people perceive, and the faith. You know, when you want to compare religion, it's based on faith, not facts. So if today you believe that if I do this kind of thing is going to happen, and through that, and also maybe there's how it also influences things to happen. You know, there is a certain book I used to read about the law, the power of the subconscious mind. So what happens to you is what you've already perceived and put in your mind, and actually it gets to happen. But what we see currently in Kenya, I think, you know, Kenya is a country that is having a freedom of worship, and these kind of things are not controlled, whereby just by the virtue of that right, people get into these religious activities and they're not mature enough, or they are not really aware of what they're supposed to be preaching. So they end up exploiting people's minds, leading to what is called brainwashing and such kind of things. And most of them do it for the purpose of their personal gains. You know, what destroyed our religion is the fact that it was commercialized through things called the Sadaka and Fungu la Kumi and such kind of things. So the people that we see currently practicing religion, they're not practicing it out of the religious faith or out of that conviction that they're having a call to turn people's mind or people's belief, but they're doing it as an economic activity. It is their career. That is why we have career pastors. They don't have any other work that they do, but they depend on that religion and use the spiritual or the scriptures to enrich themselves. They use those scriptures that specifically tells you to feed the men and women of God so that they can be able to get fed. I don't think the purpose of religion was to make people maybe earn their daily bread. Even if you compare the most common religions that are being practiced, let me give an example: Christianity. You know, when I was young and going to school, I became a Christian by default because the environment and the family I was coming from at that age, I was not be able to make my own decision, and I was subjected to Christianity. So most of the scriptures we are reading will tell us that even people like St. Paul had some other things that they were doing besides preaching. So they did not entirely depend on this. So if you come to Kenya, I'm sad to say we have people like, I always give names, people like Kanyari or whatever. They don't even have the knowledge on the religion that they are preaching. For me, I practice African tradition. So what I do, I try to dig deep in how are these African people living before? How are they worshiping their God? So what differs is how the kind of practices. Actually, it is human beings who created religion. We created money and also created religion, not knowing that we're worshiping the same God. Of course, in real life, I heard you saying before, you've been flying and such kind of things. Indeed, there's somebody who is supernatural. There is some force, some superhuman or some extraordinary person that we cannot be able to see, but we can be able to he manifests himself. So through the actions and some wonders that happens, it can be able to tell our instinct that there's something that is so powerful. And that is what we worship in the name of God. So the only difference is the practices. So some of these practices, I think, are really, some of them should be banned, because I watched what happened, what is happening, you know, and these things normally happen in specific areas. I don't know why a Prophet War chooses to go to Nakuru. I still don't know the hysterical reason why he chooses that specific place to do those kind of miracles. So we've had so many people, and even if you go to Nairobi, you'll find that there are more churches that are performing miracles in slums than we have them in the big estates. And these people will be telling you, wewe tolea Mungu, like you pray, God will provide for you. But at the end of the day, they tell you the man of God needs a car. So you people will be contributing to build the house for the man of God. You'll contribute to buy a car for the man of God, but you'll have to pray so that God will provide you with the house, such kind of
Okay.
things. So I normally just say let allow people be, let people believe in what they believe in.
Okay, thank you so much, Leo, for that. And I told you, religion, when it comes to issue to do with religion, it covers a wide range, and so many questions are being asked, so many answers are also being given. But sometimes we need to have a reflection and have a conversation around it. I have two issues here that I would want to share with you. Then we will go to the main discussion of today. Especially, we want to focus on opposition because now we are in 2026. As we know, people or the politics is gaining momentum, as we know, because 2027 we are having general election. But we want to focus on opposition. We are looking at them. What do they have to offer? Because like opposition are the alternative government, or are the government in waiting, and they're the people who should tell us, if the government currently is not doing this, this is what we will be offering you instead of this. So they are packaging themselves. So we are going to look at them and see that do they have the capacity, do they have what it takes, especially to offer the people of Kenya as a government in waiting. And before we go there are two issues that are also here that I want us to pass across. These are news. They are barely 3 weeks after graduating from Egerton University. A lady has gone mad before even returning her gown or sending out the CV to employees. Our only mistake was going to the village while wearing her graduation gown. That is somewhere that is happening. And you go, this is another, we are at the international news again. Kenyan men reported missing in Washington, found dead. It is with deep sorrow that we confirmed the Eric Mutama Kidhula, a Kenyan man who had been reported missing in Kent, Washington, has been found deceased. Following this development, all such efforts has been officially called off. So this is a Kenyan in diaspora. He was missing, but he's found deceased. So those are some of the international news and local news that we have. So those who are graduating, please know your home area. If you know ni wale wenye hawataki maendeleo, usiende. Utashindwa. Ona sasa huyu msichana, she has struggled all that 4 years in campus university, then umegraduate, unaenda kusherekea, kuambia kweli umefanya, lakini kuna mzazi mahali ama kuna mtu mahali mwenye afurahishwi na hilo jambo akamfanyia ile kitu. Sasa jua watu wenyu. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and Miguda, Makobura, and Leo. As I said earlier, we want to focus on opposition. And when we want to discuss this, we want to look at them as alternative government. Most of the time, we've found, or we know that the Ruto must go is a slogan. And we are saying that if the opposition wants to get power, or they want to defeat President William Ruto in 2027, we are saying that Ruto must go should not be the agenda. They should lay out the agenda to the Republic and the people of Kenya. What are they going to do? Especially, what kind of leadership are they going to do for Kenyans? What are they going to put in place? Especially things that Kenyans are complaining about, talking about health, talking about education, talking about economy, and all that. So these are the people, these are the things that we want to look at the opposition, that what are they going to offer other than Ruto must go? What is there in their plate that they are going to feed Kenyans? Let me start with you, Miguda. Miguda, when you look at opposition, and I'm not only putting it to Rigathi Gachagua and the united opposition, I'm talking about everybody who is not pleased with the administration of President William Ruto. What is the agenda that from Ruto must go?
Thank you very much for you have put it in a way I wanted to put it, that no one owns opposition. So it is not a one-man show. It doesn't belong to Rigathi Gachagua. It doesn't belong to anybody. And there is no specific people who are oppositions. You sometimes find yourself in opposition by default, or it's something you make up your mind to be in a position. That, as for me, I want to oversight and critique outside as a person, as a Kenyan people. I'm not pleased with the current regime in terms of taxation, in terms of cost of living, in terms of service delivery. If I'm dissatisfied, therefore, I'm not part and parcel of that regime. But if I'm satisfied with how service delivery comes to my region or my people, if I'm satisfied with the medical insurance, if I'm satisfied with education, if I'm satisfied with the way the current regime is running the government, therefore I'm part and parcel of it, and I can also give it second term. That is how it should be. This issue of people, whenever you critique, they label you to belong to a Munyoro Gachagua. That is nonsensical. I have a duty as a citizen to agree or disagree with the government. And for most of my time, I haven't agreed with the government before. But that doesn't make me to be where you want me to be. That's something I do not owe anybody apology or explanation. So according to me, first, if you are in opposition, what you need to do as a people in opposition, from my understanding, is that once there is a government in place, it has been established in operational. And there are manifestos which were given before during the campaigns. Like when Ruto was campaigning, Ruto promised that we will be having a free phone call. We will not buy airtime. Ruto promised that all borders will no longer be there. They will have matatus, some will have Uber. Ruto promised that all Mambogas will have supermarkets. Ruto promised that there will be free universal health coverage. Ruto promised that there will be no taxation. He promised that there was a state capture, but when it comes to power, there will be no state capture. But from my understanding, if I go to the market to purchase goods, and when I compare the price of goods, which does not favor me or my pocket, I have a duty to call out the government in the cost of living. When I'm traveling from one point to the other, but the fuel levy is on my neck, I must protest because I'm the person who is paying. Whenever I go to school, like some of us, when we are in school, but we cannot afford the cost of education, I have to call out the government. When I go to hospital and my insurance cannot cover me, I have to call out. That's what we call opposition. So, and even if I'm in parliament, I have a duty to oversight whenever there's a legislation coming to parliament and it is not contrary to the popular will of the people or does not favor the people. I will have to go there and have my decent opinion as a member of parliament. So that's why we have been insisting, even on this our channel, that whenever we criticize, let us be objective. And from us, we have been objective to criticize William Ruto. And that's why, according to me, I'm saying, agenda, if you do not have the manifesto's agenda as a person, you need to look at the previous promises given out by the government and your duty. That's why we call this minority in parliament. What's the work of minority? To ensure that you remind them that this was not your contract with the people of Kenya. Why do we have the Public Account Committee? To be there as a watchdog to the public that no, this is contrary to the popular will of the people. This does not favor the public. This one is too harsh for the public. Taxation without representation. You cannot introduce a tax without representation. You cannot wake up in the morning, then you increase tax. So we have people, or you have a duty to ensure that you put that government into check. All these shenanigans about look for agenda, look for manifesto, that is just make to intimidate the Gachagua team, but they cannot intimidate people like us in the Kenya. We are very clear that we need services. Whenever there's no services, I have a duty to protest, to shout out as a citizen whenever I'm dissatisfied with the previous government. That's the role of opposition. And also, it is not a must that if I'm in a position or if I'm oversighting or I'm criticizing objectively, I must run for the president. No, I can just do that work, but I'm not interested to run for the presidency. I can as well do it, and I'm not interested to join government. So I can do it as a concerned citizen because I'm accessing the services I'm accessing the service of government in this country. Therefore, when I travel, I'm feeling it. When I go to host my friends, so I have a duty as a, because all of us can't be president. All of us can't go to state house. We'll only have one president at a time. So whenever you are not in that composition, you
Yeah.
have a duty to remind the government, and that's why I can define the opposition.
All right. Thank you so much, Miguda. And, one thing that we have to agree here is that opposition is government in waiting. And for quite some time, President William Ruto has always called out opposition kwamba hawana agenda. And President William Ruto also have outlined that the only thing that they know, Ruto must go one term and two term and all that, all these political narratives that usually come from opposition. But now we want to look at them, bearing in mind that President William Ruto is the president currently, and there are so many challenges that government is facing, especially people have talked about the healthcare, that the SHA has been having a problem, even though there is quite a number of improvement from the SHA. Some people say that there's the issue to do with education, and especially like parents now are complaining about the placement of that are taken place. But now the question is, if you're government in waiting and you want to make Kenyans believe, or you want to make the voters believe that you can offer it better than the current administration, what do they have in place apart from Ruto must go? Leo, what is your take on that? What do opposition have to offer, especially to encounter what President William Ruto is doing and the things that are not working in his administration, rather than Ruto must go?
Thank you so much, Brother Ben. And also extend greetings, though I think I'd already greeted my brother Bigoda. I like the way you introduced the show today when I joined. You know, as a teacher, I am still practicing teaching. Before, when you're starting a lesson, there's always something we call a lesson hook. So, lesson hook is that line that you bring into the lesson to maybe you relate it with the topic that you want to teach, and also to attract the attention of the learners before you begin the main lesson. And in your lesson today, in your hook today, you brought in something to do with religion. And we said religion is based on beliefs, perception, and nothing factual. So back to the discussion, I just want maybe to make some few corrections just to advise my brother Migoda before I give my point of view. When it comes to things like politics and running a country, these things are normally based on facts and some verifiable things that are implemented that you can be able to verify and see the real results. So we've talked of something called a manifesto, which I know he really understands what a manifesto is. A manifesto is what gives, outlines the promises that anybody who runs for a public office, specifically an office that deals with the implementation, they promise that we are going to do this, and this is what should always be used to verify if they really did it or did not do it when you're now going to do your final assessment or your evaluation. And I'm sure Migoda, now that I can see him here, I'm sure he uses internet, and he knows there are some things that even if you don't have a physical document, you just need your internet and type there. If he goes to the manifesto that was used by UDA or the Kenya Kwanza, of which the president is working on, he will verily tell you that the things that you've said are none of them appear in the manifesto, like the free internet, free calls, and such kind of things. So I just want him next time when he's engaging, so that we can have a positive engagement and also enlighten the voters, that there are some things that are just said, just rhetoric stories in a public rally, just to entice and cool the crowd. But there are people that things that are in the manifesto. So the governments are judged with the written documents in the manifestation. If I campaign today, the people who come to rallies, they just come there to get some tokens, and maybe you have to make them happy. And that is why there are some sentiments that are not always said there. And you cannot hold anybody responsible in the office because of what they said, which you know very well, number one, is not part of the law, and number two, is not part of the written document. So if I have a crowd of 50,000 people, there is not nothing you're going to explain to them as far as your manifesto is concerned, but you'll do things that are going to make them or to move the crowd. So we need to separate things that William Ruto and Gachagua said during the campaigns just to entice the crowd and the things that they put down in their manifesto. So when we are trying to compare how this government is working, we need to have that in mind. The number two in Kenya, as it exists, of course, we have the opposition, which is the government in waiting. So this opposition, which is the government in waiting, can be anybody, including me, who is not part of the three arms of government. But when it comes to the three arms of government, we have the minority and the majority as part of the national and the Senate, National Assembly and the Senate. So it is not the role of the opposition to oversight. It is the role of the National Assembly and the oversight and the Senate to oversight the government. So the senators, whether the majority or minority, has got a same or a similar role of oversighting their respective governments. So the senators will be oversighting their county governments and making laws in relation to the counties, while the MPs, whether you are in Kenya Kwanza, you are in minority or you're in majority, they have similar roles. The role of the MP is to make laws, to amend these laws, to represent people, and to oversight the national government. So it is wrong for people to come and create a notion that for you to be able to oversight President William Ruto, who is the head of the executive, you must be in opposition or you must be a minority. Kimani Ichung'wah has got equal role to that of Mohammed Ali or to that of Senator Sifuna's role, and that of Cherargei are the same. They are all legislatures and they're supposed to be doing the oversight. So what we see currently is that these members of parliament, they've taken advantage of our ignorance and they are trying to create a constitution that does not exist, and people are falling into it. We have people who are in opposition. Of course, they are doing their work. They are trying to put the government in check and ensure that things run accordingly, which is good for any progressive country. The person who is in the executive needs as much pressure as possible to ensure that they deliver on their mandate, because if that pressure is not there, they are not going to deliver. For these affordable houses to be a reality, people have to keep on pushing William Ruto. And that is why when you go to Kakamega, yesterday I saw Dr. P.S. Omolo telling us the 9 units are ready for occupation. It is because of the pressure that we are seeing from people like Gachagua who are pushing the president. So I believe that moving forward this year, we are going to have a vibrant opposition that will not only include those MPs who maybe feel, those MPs who are opposing the president or not opposing that, who are giving the president the pressure. They are not opposing the president. They are doing their mandate. They are just oversighting and keeping on reminding the president what to do. And the more vibrant they are, the better the president is going to be. And that means the chances of William Ruto being re-elected in 2027 is going to be a reality. But if they legeza kidogo, they fail to remind the president of the promises, it means the president will also take a backseat and feel comfortable. So I want them to be more vigorous, and the more vigorous they are, it means the president is also going to give more promises, is going to work on the promises, and come 2027, the person who will be able to benefit from the vigorous opposition is the president himself, nobody else. I like it, and I would really encourage as many people to join that band and do their work. And we also need to call upon those ones who are not working. Like my senator in Nairobi is not working. It was so sad to see people losing lives because of the approval that have been done by the county government of Nairobi. So it tells me that the senator is not doing the oversight work. He is oversighting the cabinet secretaries and forgets on his mandate to be oversighting the county government of Nairobi. So we need to call upon, help me call upon my Senator Edwin Sifuna that he needs to wake up and stop oversighting the CS in the national government and concentrate in Nairobi. People are really losing lives. Nairobi is not working, but he's busy doing things that are none of his, not part of his mandate or part of his job description as the senator of Nairobi.
All right, thank you so much. And I know that is political, but like because like we cannot put everything on Edwin Sifuna, because when you look at Nairobi as a whole, and that's why we called even Jalango. We cannot put it on Sifuna, and we cannot put it on Sifuna, but we have to put it on the leadership, and that's why we question all the leadership, even including Sakaja, because this is falling under them. Because you cannot tell me that all these leaders, when the building was supposed to be on a 12th floor and it went up to the 16th floor, that is when now you come and say that we need to hold all the construction that is going on so that they can be audited. But if what happened did not happen, which means the building could have still continued. So I think what we need to do as a country, we need to put everybody, all the leadership. We cannot single out. This one falls on the government, fall on the governor, fall on the Senate, fall on the area MP, fall on the MCA, and fall on the officers that have been given the power to make sure that those regulations are being put, are being obeyed. It is not a one-man thing, because like I cannot say that even if Sifuna could have talked, but the one thing that we have to agree here, the money might have exchanged hand. So that is something that we cannot put on one person. We have to blame everybody in the leadership of Nairobi for such thing to happen. And it's not the first time that this thing is happening. Kenyans keep on losing their lives, you know, especially when it comes to a situation whereby Kenyans are losing their lives. That we should not politicize it. I think we should be very, very, very careful about it and call out all the leadership and those who are very responsible. It's not for one person, Edwin Sifuna included. Thank you so much. And I also want to ask you about, you've talked about something to do with the oversight. And you say that the people who should oversight are the members of parliament. That one should be the Senate and the House, the Senate and the parliament itself, which I tend to disagree with you. When it comes to oversight and accountability, all Kenyans have that responsibility to oversight the government. It is not given to the Senate, because that's why you find that Kenyans usually go on the street. The main reason why Kenya goes on the street, that is a one way in which they put the oversight and tell the government, what you are doing, we are not satisfied with that. That's why people go on the street. That is our
brother Ben, just a minute. I know I agree with you, but I also want to put this one clear. When Kenyans go on the streets, they are making use of the Article 37. Is it that? No. Yeah, Article 37 under the very preamble Article 1, which gives says that all the sovereign powers belong to the citizen. And there's part that we always ignore. These powers belongs to us, and we delegate it. So what happens when we look at the parliamentary democracy or the representative democracy that we have in Kenya allows us, because all of us cannot be able to exercise this power directly. So it allows us to elect the representatives to go and represent us at a specific period of 5 years. So once we elect these representatives, it means we are delegating this power to them to go and exercise it on our behalf. It belongs to us, but we're now delegating them. So what happens is, once I delegate power to you, and I feel that you cannot be able to represent me properly, I'll have to take back that power. And constitutionally, we have so many ways of taking back the power. We can take the power after 5 years, which automatically the power will be given back to us, and we give it or delegate it back again through the elections. And we can also have a process of recalling these people that we've delegated power to when we feel that they are not doing what we want, yet the time has not expired. Then when we see people going to the streets, it shows that we are having no confidence of the legislators that we've delegated powers to. So we need to recall them back. So it means that going to the street is otherwise trying to show that we delegated this power to these people, but they are not able to do it. So who has failed? It is the representatives, the senators and the MPs there who failed to represent us. So we need our power back, which actually that is what should always be the communication. But we cannot go to the streets and also have the MPs at the same time.
All right.
We cannot delegate power and also exercise it. Yeah.
I agree with you, but something that we have to know here, or something that we have to agree here. When you go on the street, sometimes we go on the street if we feel, for instance, when you look at, I want just to give you, before I invite in Joseph, I want to bring you back to 2023, after the election and after the pronouncement that were made by the Supreme Court about the presidential candidate, who is President William Ruto, to have won the election. The Azimio members of parliament went on the street, and among of the things that they were crying for high cost of living. Yeah, so they were reminding the president that the cost of living is quite high, so you need to do something. And remember, when they were doing that, it was including both the members of parliament. So that one alone, to me, it's accountability. You are holding president accountable, and you're telling, hey, Mr. President, this one is not working. Can you please fix this? That is accountability. I'll come back to you. Joseph, how are you doing?
Okay, just let me chip in, because before we finish that line, I also want to add one point, that the so-called delegated power, the so-called oversight, or the so-called whatever, in our constitution, all sovereign power belongs to the people. And even that delegated power, it is derived directly from the people. You cannot exercise it without the people. Even in our oversight, you can't do it without the people. So you cannot exclude the people, that because I'm a lawmaker, I'm going to oversight exclusively minus the people, that I must oversight it because I'm a lawmaker. To me, if you take the sovereign power, the parliament derives from the people and can only exercise it in accordance with the constitution. And that's one takes you to Article 10 about public participation, that you cannot do oversight without public participation. So the moment you involve the people to participate publicly, so you can't do it just because you're a lawmaker now. I have that role of the role and function of the parliament to oversight, but you must derive it from the people. You can't oversight exclusively.
All right, thank you so much. And I know I'll come back to Leo. Joseph, how are you doing?
Hello, Brother Benson.
How? We are doing fine. We are having a discussion here. Actually, we are looking at opposition because we know that they are the government in waiting. And the current government that we have, there are those challenges that they might be going through. But we are looking at what is the agenda of the opposition. Rather than Ruto must go or two-term, is the agenda that they are offering for the people of Kenya, such that the people of Kenya would believe in them and give them that opportunity to be the government that when it comes to the 2027?
Thank you for that question, and I want to kick it off with, it's very funny nowadays. I always come here and I hear Leo saying that the only people who are not working are the people he dislikes, because I hear him saying that Sifuna is quite not working in the Nairobi in the Senate. And there is another day we were here with Leo and he said that Sifuna, they have never recalled the governor of Nairobi. And I want him to go and take clips and see the day that the governor of Nairobi was called to the Senate and how he was answering the questions. Even he made so many people angry in that Senate that they even left because he was being asked questions and he was not ready to answer them about the certain how they are using even the counts in Nairobi. Clearly, if there is a leader who has failed in Nairobi, it is the governorship of Nairobi. They have failed in everything that they are doing. They are failed in development. They are now even failing in the structural part of buildings in the county. Because I know county is the one who gives an okay to the structural buildings of a county, and they okays them. Do they mean they were blind when they were giving this okaying, or this they gave them they allowed them to build the building? It means there is somebody who is playing on the other. Sifuna might be a senator and he might raise the alarm, but even if he's raised the alarm, they need to raise the alarm in Senate. So has Senate resumed? Has Senate resumed his duty? That is a question. Are they still in recess? He can be able to talk on the any platforms there outside, but any business is done in the Senate. Have they resumed for the break they were? You cannot just come here and say that somebody is not working just because you dislike them, or they are fighting something that, or they are not in the good terms of what you want them to be. So that one seems somebody is very angry with somebody. But me coming to the united opposition, if there is an agenda they have, the first agenda is to remove William Ruto from that seat. That is the first agenda. So that now they can be able to come to the agendas that they are going to give us. And the second agenda is they want to return people to where they were. What do I mean by this? They want to return the country where it was, because the country where it was, this share they came to give us is not working efficiently the way we thought it was working. And it has used a lot of money, which is taxpayers' money, almost 104 billion, to be able to build a system that was supposed to be uncorruptible. But the system is still corruptible. People still are being there is corruption cases which are continuing with this child. And to top it off, all these shenanigans of this Shah have made even the president come and say out broadly, if you are going to be asked money in the hospital, you need to call him. You need to go to the nearest police station. How will you go to the nearest police station to report Shah, which is a government entity, which is a government program? So that is another thing. So they need to return the systems where they were. And the systems where they were is to reboot them. Like most of this money that is being called the what do we call it? This housing levy, whatever they call it, because they call it a levy, but it's a tax. People are being cut taxes and those levies, and themselves they don't even find these houses. Those people who are being cut this money, some of them are living in rented areas. More so the public servants, they are living in rented areas, and they want themselves to find these houses, but they cannot be given. We had things like Kazi Mtaani. They were finished. We were told that people are going to go for Mjengo. There was things like so many things like Linda Mama. It was done. Even I had another lady jokingly saying that siwezi zaa mtoto mpaka after 2027 kwa sababu saizi hata nikizaa mtoto mwenyewe sijui nitamzaa nitaitishwa pesa ngapi kwa hospitali, or what will be the catering, because if you added the money in the hospital, it even gets worse because you need to prepare for this baby. And how the economy is right now, I know if you have been nursing babies, you can clearly tell, or you have been in those areas where, or in the forum of where people buy Pampers, it's unbuyable. There was a time it was 500, now it is ranging to 900. It is going off the peak. So imagine you being told that you're going to pay the hospital for your wife after she gives birth, and after you are going to be, and then after you find the expenses of the commodities in the market. So I think that is what they are trying to mean by taking the country where it was. Then after that, now they want to strategize, because there is only one thing that Kenyans needed from William Ruto. Only one thing Kenyans needed, and he did not give them that. Kenyans needed a good economy. And I think all the manifestos that were given out by Azimio and UDA, all of them, they were touching on more so economy. But right now we have shifted the goalpost. Now I hear another thing that is called, I don't know, Singapore, I don't know what. And the goal was us changing our economy first, so that we can be able, treating our economy so that we can be able first to go to now be able to do these infrastructure projects we are doing. We are now even shifting goalposts. We are being told that we are going to have a 5 trillion, I don't know, funding for going to Singapore. So the United Opposition only have one clear goal, which is not even to sell their I've seen even people are selling too much of their agendas. Those people who are selling too much of their agendas, they come and do nothing. They don't come and do anything. They sell your agendas of nonsense, and then they don't come even do anything to the common mwananchi. There is no even need for selling agendas. Where just come, people are going to tell you, rudisha pale Kenya ilikuwa kitambo kidogo, jaribu vile utawaka on economy. Achana na mambo mingi ya tizanini, jaribu tu vile unaweza fanyia kazi kwa Kenya kwa economy kwanza. Ukimalizana na economy, you can now start working on these other projects you want to work on. Those one are given. So for United Opposition, they don't need even to have so many things they are doing. Just very easy. Just return Kenya where it was before. Make sure that the systems that were there, they can be able to be utilized. And the ones that the money that has been taken needs to be accounted for. Just that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Joseph. And with all that you are saying, what the opposition
before I forget, Benson, Before I just forget, just 1 minute. I know there's somebody wants to speak after me. I really like Joseph, and I'll avoid any confrontation with him because I've understood what he's advocating for. I just want to summarize. He told us that what the United Opposition, which in this case are drivers, want, the bus is Kenya, and currently we're having a driver in the name William Ruto. So United Opposition just need to remove the driver from the driving seat. They don't need to tell us the destination where they are taking us. They don't need to tell us whether they are qualified drivers or not. So what they need to do is to ensure that the driver is out of the seat. So where they're going to take the bus, where they're going to take this van called Kenya, should be none of our business. How they are going to do it should also be none of our business. Secondly, you've also said that right now we have shifted to Singapore, which I think to him he takes so many things literally, not forgetting that when you're talking of Singapore, Singapore is not that the president is taking us there literally, taking us into buses or into some planes and we land in Singapore. He needs to understand that Singapore is a synonym. It is just like an economical strategy in reflecting to what happens in Singapore. Just in the Bible, people are being promised they're going to be taken to Canaan. It was not a physical Canaan. So for those who are Christians, when you are dissecting Canaan, unless you are Pastor Kanyari, is the one who will tell people who are in Kayaba Mukuru that we are taking you to Canaan. Canaan means all those good religious things that you people want. The same way here, when the president wants to take us to Singapore, he is simply reflecting on the economy of Singapore, an economy where there is transparency. When they treat you and the hospital needs to charge 5,000, before that money is credited to the account, you, the contributor, they send you a message that 5,000 has been credited from SHA and is paid to that hospital. So in case you did not get those services, you can go and complain and such kind of thing. Thank you.
Okay.
I need to answer because I don't think Leo listens to what I'm saying. Let me answer this because I need to answer this. He has put words in my mouth. Let me answer this. Let me clarify. He has said that the opposition is taking us to nothing. What have I said? Does he even listen to what I say? I've said we need to take Kenya to where we were. Does he not listen to what I'm saying? You need first to listen. You just come and say that tunataka opposition inatupeleka basi pahali hatujui. Just listen first. I said we want to take Kenya first where it was, so that we can be able now to arrange where we are going to go. But we cannot be able to take Kenya and all this shenanigans.
Noted.
As long as we are still corrupting the country.
Okay, opposition needs to take us where we were. Kenya should be moving forward or moving backwards. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, thank you so much. And we need to take it slow a little bit. And I want to follow both of you. I want to do a follow-up with you because I don't know. Let me start with Leo because yours came. You talk about the Singapore. And both me and you, and both of us who are here, when we get the story or the narrative of Singapore, we tend to go back and dig deep and say that how did the Singapore come Singapore? As you say that is a synonym that is being used as economic, but how we are doing it, we might be doing it quite much differently. That is one. Secondly, the same time, remember, the president talked about the issue of hustler narrative and all that this serikali itaformiwa na mama mboga and all that, and that one went. And I can remember vividly well in other platforms that we were with you, you were one person who was very big critic of President William Ruto, including his narrative and the art of politics. But along the way, things have really changed. So what should Kenyans believe if the hustler narrative actually at some point it did not work? Then how can the Kenyans now believe the Singapore narrative? You will come to that because I'm leaving. Just hold on. Also, Joseph talked about opposition and gave issues that feel like a challenge that President William Ruto administration is facing, including talking about the healthcare, the money that was used as 104 billion, and all that challenges that. But now I want Joseph to tell us that okay, these challenges have been identified. Then how can the opposition make them their priority so that to make Kenyans also believe that, okay, this is what we are dealing with? So those are some of the things that I want to follow up.
Yeah, thank you. That one is a very simple issue, Brother Benson. If we need just to follow up, we need to know how much of this money, because we are told 104 billion was used for a certain system, People need to be held accountable. The government that wants to come in, they need to tell us quite well they are going to hold people accountable. Because you cannot be having a system of 104 billion being brought. 104 billion is not easy money. Being brought and being used that it is going to come is a system that is going to help in curbing corruption. And then that system is still is the same as the way we have NHIF. I don't know even why we are changing the NHIF if we are saying it is a corrupt system. I think we should even remain with the NHIF. There was no need for us changing it. So what the United Opposition, if they are coming, they need to tell us how they are going to return this money. That is the agenda. They need to tell us how they are going to force this money to be followed up, and people should be charged because of this kind of schemes they have done. And the next step to do is this system should be scrutinized well. If that system is fraud, it's better. I don't know even why we had a system like that. I don't understand. I have never understood, because if you are saying you had a system which was working, but it was corrupt, what could you have done? You could have tried to clean up the mess. But changing the system, what does it help with? Changing the system. So anytime you are going to be having a problem in the country, we are going to be changing this kind of system and everything, so that we can be able to go to another one. And then when we go there, also corruption is still the same and rampant. So I think there is no even too much magic that is going to be done. Right now, even I can tell the people who are listening to us right now, for sure, I don't expect the next government coming, they are going to change much, because the damage that has been done by the current regime is too much. It's too much to bear. So I don't think there's something that can be able to be changed that much within the 5 years that the current government is going to come. Maybe what they can do, they can lay strategies of being able to, because this guy touched all systems. He touched the system of agriculture, he touched the system of education, he touched the system of healthcare. I don't know why he had the rush of changing this kind of system. And he found two presidents who, even not two presidents, there are three presidents who passed through this, and most of them did not change the current healthcare system. I don't know what he was trying to achieve by that, but maybe he was trying to make so that the name can remain engraved in people's mind that he's the one who brought Shah. This guy likes to be open so that he can be seen he has brought things and he has opened things. But the only thing they can do now is just they try to remove this guy from the office, and we try to see if we can be able to raise strategies for being able to change the ill dance that he has done. People are suffering, brother. People are suffering, I can tell you. I've been talking to quite some handful of people, and I can tell you, they are not suffering only pocket-wise. Some, even the civil servants are suffering also payslip-wise. They are not happy at all. They are not happy, I can tell you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brother Joseph. And let me say hi. I had not said hi to you. Allow me to also say hi to our good friend Leo, and to our viewers as well. This is Brother Benson Media, and here we say that your opinion counts. If you're new or watching for the first time, kindly like and subscribe. If you do so, it is a way of supporting us. Na sisi hapa tutasema ni asante. Migude, I want to come to you. There's this topic of accountability and governance, and I would want to hear your take. In 2026, I can say that Kenya is at a point. Kenya is at the point of its political cycle. The citizens are demanding clearer answers, faster outcomes. I believe you've seen whenever the president comes up with something, they've always said that we need a faster outcome, and some of his promises are seen to be not making sense. And that is why the people are talking about faster outcomes, and of course, a greater accountability from the leaders. These are some of the serious demands we've seen from the people. But the public affairs are shifting from the rhetoric to credibility, trust and tangible impact. So my question to you is, Miguda, how well has the government delivered on the promises made in 2022? If you remember the promises that the president gave, do you think how well has he delivered? Or has he shifted or changed from the plan? And what reforms are still lagging, Mr. Miguda?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. You have asked me the question which I've just said earlier, but I'll just respond to it in my way. Based on what I heard, because you understand me, I was not supporting William Ruto. Therefore, I could only get when he was responding to our manifesto. And even during the presidential debate, he shifted from his plan to other things. But based on whatever he promised Kenyans, the highlights I got during campaigns, I can just say effectively he has not done them. You know, he promised even state capture, but he goes ahead to capture the state. So, and you want me to clap for Ruto? You want me to praise and worship him? I will not. He has not achieved what he promised Kenyans. Corruption right now is at high peak, but he said he is going to deal with corruption. Inclusivity. Look at all the CEO parastatals. A huge number is coming from the Kalenjin nation. He has not included Kenyan people, and I wonder, there's no single Luo who is a CEO in Ruto's government. Then you want to tell me that you are a government my feet. Therefore, let me tell you, William Ruto has not. I'm not yet sure, coach you, my friend. William Ruto has not done anything good. He has excluded other Kenyans in appointments. He is corrupt. There has been abduction, extrajudicial killings. We are watching. Bana, this government has not done something you can. You know, he's talking about Atlanta Ella Stadium, Express Highway, JKI. So what? According to me, I'm out of 10, I can give him 2, because at least he has a cabinet. There's a cabinet, and also he has to do what we call international relations. Diplomatically, we have been going to other countries, so maybe 2. But he has not done much, and I don't expect anything new, Makubura. Giving him a second term, I don't expect him doing anything. So, even you know that nothing is going on. When we talk, I'm not speaking because maybe I'm affiliated to broad-based government or whatever, my party. That is me. I'm speaking from my own experience. I've told you why people like to hide things. Let us be real. In terms of medication, it is not universal. And even if you say it is universal because when your shy is working, but they promised us that government will pay for the people who cannot pay. Have they paid for anybody? Those are things we are asking. Have they paid for anybody? They have not paid for anybody. In which education, university, it's expensive, man. We can't afford it. It's no longer affordable. Fuel levy. If you are used to traveling, maybe for some people who are fueling their own vehicle or are common travelers like us, we are feeling it, man. High taxation. So stop all this nonsense that Mr. President deserves second term because they want to take you to Singapore. Be it whatever, be it metaphoric, be it reality, and ability. Personally, He has not done very well. He has not done very well. Corruption in this country. Corruption is a cancer killing Kenyan people. People are corrupt. Look at Nairobi governor. Corrupt to the core. Those are his affiliates. So it doesn't.
Good, you're breaking. I don't know whether you're not very clear. Okay. I think I'll come to you, Leo, first before I go to our good friend Joseph. Yeah. And the question I'm bringing before you is the issue of accountability and governance. And Kenya is at a point of its political cycle, and the citizens are demanding clearer answers, faster outcomes, and of course, greater accountability from the leadership. But on the other side, you're also seeing public affairs are shifting from rhetoric to credibility, trust, and tangible impact. How well has the government delivered on the promises made in 2022? Has they maintained or has they focused on that particular, the promises that were given, or they've shifted? And what reforms are still lagging, Brother Leo?
Okay. Maybe I think I got you a bit. When it comes to maybe the promises that this government gave, I know I had even Brother Ben said before, I actually did not believe in their promises and such kind of thing. And along the way, after seeing what was happening, I could be able to reflect and change my mind that actually they meant well and they are up to task. Unlike any other governments, there are normally challenges, and when you're promising things, there's one thing that the politicians normally don't put in place. You know, they will promise we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and they forget that there are certain things that are not constant. So, like, there are certain things they might have promised, but when they came into power, they found that as far as funding is concerned, things are not constant, and there are some that are also challenged, maybe legally. And for you to be able to fulfill these promises, it means there must be money. So it reaches a case whereby you're not able to raise that amount of money. If maybe you planned, you will take some loans, and some of these loans are also subject to approval. So all these three arms of government will always work hand in hand to ensure that the promises are delivered. But what I can say is that so far so good, as I can see, as I can try to do an assessment of the little or the more that the government has done, they've not yet drifted from their promise. There are some things that are in the pipeline. They are yet to be realized fully. So the only thing I can say, maybe they've not worked up to speed. The timelines, they've not met the timelines, but they are in the cause. Like if I start with the much publicized things that they really promised people affordable housing. And I not only like the fact that the houses can be seen and some of them are ready for occupation, I also like the idea that led them to try and develop this kind of housing across the country. When I was opposing these things, I was trying to imagine that somebody like me who comes from Siaya, where I assumed everybody in Siaya have a house. And I was like, why would we need affordable housing in Siaya when everybody has got a land and such kind of thing? But it has come to reality that we really needed these houses. So when I go to Homa Bay, the affordable housings there that are up to 80% complete. Yesterday, I was really thrilled to see the 9 units in Kakamega are done and ready for occupation. So that is really good. There are some other promises. There's something that are also positive. You know, when a new government comes, Some of the governments, they normally try to sabotage some of the previous projects that were there by the previous regime to try and discredit and maybe show that the previous regime was not doing anything. But that is not what is happening with this government. If you look at most of the programs that are happening, they've picked up from where the regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta left it. Look at some of these roads that are being continued, and some of them, they are some of the infrastructural developments that they themselves were opposed to when they were campaigning. They did not like them. They say that, oh, this one should not happen. And you remember how Gachagua used to talk and how they are going to reverse such kind of things. But when they came to government, they realized that these governments are normally successive. The governments are never owned by individuals, but they are institutions that should always be run. And any occupant of the office should mean well for the country and should continue with the project. So far, the projects that were promised by the government are moving on well. They are verifiable, of course. There are things like the alignment of the social insurance, that is the health insurance. I think there are people who are not just comfortable with the name SHA, but a lot changed. I am somebody who used NHIF, and I'm somebody who is again using the social insurance, whatever fund, the SHA. Let me just use the SHA because it's a common name. And I can for sure tell you, this is a better version of the NHIF that we had. In NHIF, there was a lot of things that were happening at the background that you'll never know. You'll go get admitted to Bakubura, then after that, what happens is amount will be credited to those hospitals. You will not even know how much you spent. You'll go to the hospital, your details will be taken, you don't know how much has been spent, you don't know how much has been paid there. But currently, if you are sick and you get admitted, what happens is they will first of all send you the message that you've been admitted in a certain hospital, and this is what has been used for your treatment, and this money is going to be dispersed. So what we people fail to tell our people is the procedure. You cannot go to the hospital when you're sick and you've not been contributing to the SHA, then expect to be treated. No, not to be treated, but expect SHA to remit the money. You should be a contributor. And that is why when you go to the hospital, those people who've not been contributors are the ones who've defaulted. You know what happens in default in insurance. Even if you've been contributing for the last 10 years, then you default for 3 months and you get an accident, you will not be covered because of default. So when you go to the hospital, they always tell you to deposit a certain amount. Even during NHIF, it was there. You are supposed to pay 3 months upfront because you're a defaulter. And there's normally a grace period. You cannot come, you want to pay the same day, you only pay for 1 month and get treated. It doesn't work like that. So people need to be realistic. Then number two, it is not the role of SHA to ensure that there is medicine in the hospital or the doctor treats you. In SHA is an insurance. It is the role of the hospital to equip their hospital, give the services, then ask for the money to be remitted. SHA is not going to be giving hospital A money if they've not given their services. So those people who go to the hospital and say, hakuna dawa kwa hospitali, SHA haijaleta pesa, those are lies. It is the hospital that needs to stock wewe uende wakutibu, after kukutibu waende wadai SHA. So how do SHA pay for the services that have not been rendered? So we need a lot moving forward this year. I just ask those people who are at a better position to do a lot of civic education instead of selling things negatively. Once we have better civic education, people will be able to understand how government runs. People will be able to understand that you have to be a contributor. And apart from that, if you go and the doctors turn you, it is not SHA, it is that hospital that you need to sue, because if you are a contributor and the hospital is accredited, they need to give you the services. Then after the services is when they go and request to be paid. How do you request? How will SHA just say that mimi nimefika kwa hospitali and they pay money yet have not been treated? They pay for the services that have been given, and they are paid a lot of money, unlike those people who pay in cash. That is how insurance works. So these are some basic knowledge that we need to give our people instead of misleading them. But it's sad that we're having humans, just for the sake of the hate they have for the government, instead of educating them, they keep on misleading them and making them believe that these kind of things are not working. So Bakobura, that is all I have to say. And my prayer is that this year, as we begin, we be ambassadors of truth and we try to portray the government positively, so that when people are making maybe their opinions or making their views about the government, we make it based on facts, not based on some perception and try to transfer our hatred for specific individuals in the government. This government is for all of us. When the government fails, it is not William Ruto who is going to fail. It is the country, Kenya, that is going to fail. If the government succeeds, irrespective of who is president, we are going to reach a point whereby I'll not be concerned of who becomes the president. As long as the systems can work, anybody can be a president. Even I'll not even be able to ask who is the president. No, what I should be asking, are things working? That is where we go wrong. Instead of attacking the personality, I used to be like that, and today, and the message that I'm even telling fellow Kenyans and even the community I come from, that all along it is time that we need to embrace the pragmatic politics. You remember my community and your community for decades. We've been doing some vocal visionary and some idealistic politics whereby we've just been concerned with the commitment to justice, equality, and such kind of reforms. But we now need to leave that idealism and get to pragmatic politics. Things are changing. Let us align ourselves with people who mean good for us. Let us have value for the people who want to build the economy, for the people who are going to bring development projects and such kind of things. So this kind of politics of, I don't know what, shouting and our rights and such kind of things, issues are outdated. Let us, moving forward, make alliances with people who are going to change our economy, people who are going to ensure that we get jobs, and people who are going to ensure that the country is running the right way. But if you started joining people like Gachagua who are bitter because their share of bread was removed from their mouth, then we are going to lead this country nowhere.
Okay, Miguda, I think you can finish your take before I bring in Joseph.
I thought I finished.
Okay, Sasa. Joseph, I've just asked about accountability and governance. And I did say that, Kenya is at a midpoint of its political cycle where the citizens are demanding clearer answers, greater accountability from the leaders, and faster outcomes. Things to do with credibility, trust, and tangible impacts are also in it. How well has the government delivered on the promises made in 2022? Have they maintained or they have shifted from the promises? And what reforms are still lagging, according to you, Brother Joseph? Yeah, I don't know whether it's your internet or what. You are breaking. I can't hear you. So maybe you can drop and then you come back. Good here is saying overnight change like the weather. Leo, overnight change like the weather. Okay. That's so serious. Yeah, maybe Miguda. Economic reforms and the economic diplomacy. Kenya's economic strategy is increasingly tied to the regional markets and the foreign policies, often referred to as the economic diplomacy. With elections across Africa in 2026, we are going to witness one in Uganda and other countries. Kenya's trade and diplomatic ties could be reshaped. Is Kenya successfully positioning itself? Mr. Migu. Okay, maybe I give a chance to Joseph to finish before I bring the other question.
Thank you. I don't know why. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Proceed.
I don't know why it's called who? Leo has come and removed all those statements. Then he has gone away because I wanted for him. He has not answered the question that you asked. You asked about accountability. He brought other stories. Najua ukimpatia story fulani yeye anapelekaga stories za mitini. You asked about corruption and accountability within the government. You never had the answer. So there is one thing that Leo has said, and he has said that people are angry with William Ruto. But I can feel he has a bit of anger towards Gachagua, which I don't know is unexplainable. Because if you can be keep on pointing somebody who already has been removed from government, it means you have a bit of anger with him. Me, I don't talk out of anger with William Ruto. Even if he was doing the right things, even I could not talk about the presidency about him. But why do I talk? I talk because there is things we are seeing they are not going the right way. If we had a president who is doing the right things, I don't care even which tribe he comes from. I don't care what the things is going to whatever his community or something he does. But I care about the service delivery of the people. When you see a president that is focusing service delivery and the service delivery is not being given to all the Kenyans in equal measure, you can clearly tell that some people are feeling left out. So we have come here, we have been told so much stories about how SHA is very good, it is working, it is doing marvelous. But he forgot to say that nowadays, even consultation, because he talked about you cannot complain about SHA, and when you go and there is no medicine, you need to complain about the hospital. But he forgot to say that nowadays, when you go to hospital consultation, you ask money for consultation. So is this insurance not even able to compare to pay for your consultation? What kind of insurance is this? If the insurance itself cannot be able to compare to give you just a wording with the doctor so that you can be asked how you are feeling, that one is a very useless kind of insurance. I've never had an insurance that cannot even give you a one-on-one with a health insurance that cannot give you one-on-one with the doctor, not topping it off that even when you go to those admitted hospitals when you are inpatient, sometimes even it's problematic. There is some things we always come here told like stories. Somebody can come here and just rubbish off these things. Just a few months ago, we saw people who had dialysis and they were making too much noise because they cannot be able even to be treated for their dialysis. And I'm so unfortunate to have one person who is going through dementia. And is my grandfather and he uses this scheme. And let me tell you, if there was a scheme which was working was NHIF, because me, I've paid for him. I've paid NHIF for him. And with NHIF, there is no day that you are told to add any additional money for him, for his treatment. Whether they were going to add the money there or they did not add the money there, I don't care about which money they add in there. As long as somebody gets the right health care, right health care for yourself, I don't care if they can add money there or they cannot add, because that one is a business they are running. But let me assure you, Brother Marco Bura and Miguda, anytime I paid for my grandfather that NHIF, there is no day I was told to remove money from my pocket, even a single cent. And we were paying it even yearly because we were paying 6,000 yearly. I was paying it and I'm done with it. Right now, just go and pay SHA. Then you hear there is other things that are needed for that operation to be done. You're going to be told you chip in your pockets. And it's not one time that I've gone to my pockets, Brother Marco Bure and Miguda. So when somebody comes here and spread false things, he needs first to say himself he has ever been found in such a situation. Because me, I talk about something that I've gone through. That is the first scenario I've given to you. The second scenario is my kid was taken to hospital. And when they were taken to hospital, when I was under NHIF, everything was done for free. I am telling you before God, everything was done for free, even for me, because sometimes I was sick, this disease called H. pylori, and it is very expensive. But do you know, I was catered for, I was consulted, I was catered for, and I was given medicine, and I was going for those medicine for more than, I went for there is a dosage that you're given, I think, for the first few days, then you're given another dosage. And I drank the whole dosage, and I was given that dosage free of charge because we had already paid the SHA, the NHIF. But nowadays, I went with my kids to the hospital, and you know what the doctor told me? The doctor told me that before we examine you, you need to pay a consultation fee. I asked him, what are you trying to say? He told me, yeah, you need to pay a consultation fee. But I told him I have paid SHA. He told me that SHA is not working, brother. You need to pay for consultation. You need to get medical help from here. So when I speak these things, I don't speak out of malice that I've gone there to. I'm using them through the social media, and even I told you, leave even healthcare system. I'm telling you about these things you're calling housing levy. I've talked to many people, and I have even one who is paying the housing levy. And when you try and ask it yourself, you can get this house, you are told no, you are not eligible. And brother, you are the one who is being cut that money from your salary. Do you know? I don't know if nowadays somebody has taken the payslips of these guys who are working as staffs. They were told that they were added salary, but when you go to calculate the taxes that they are being cut the end of the month, you are finding they are being cut taxes of almost 7,000. So when you think about a person being cut, maybe even you're being given 40,000, then you're already being cut 7,000, and you're staying in a place in Nairobi, and the whole 7,000 has just been cut for you. Some will say it's okay because some will say like 2,000 is going to the pay, so we say like 5,000 is being cut as taxes in whatever the housing levy. There is so many levies you are cut there, so many shenanigans there. So imagine somebody is being cut 7,000 and you're staying in Nairobi and you need to pay a house, you need to pay for your transport, you need to pay for food, you need to pay for rent, for school fees. So when you think about these things, that's why people are saying they are angry. People don't get angry because of any other things. They get angry because you are raiding even their pockets. Why was the 2024 demonstration brought, the Gen Z demonstration, the ones we call Gen Z? They were brought because he was trying to raid even things that are not unraidable. You're saying that he's going to enter into diapers, into sanitary pads. How will you do even that? That's why you can build all roads you want to build even when they are going to heaven. You can build even all stadiums you want, even if you want to build all stadiums in all counties. You can even build all the houses you want to build. But the problem is, when you enter into the pocket of that Mwananchi, that is where they draw the line. And let me assure you, many governments have been toppled. Many governments have been toppled. Not because they are not doing infrastructure, but because they raided the pockets of those people and they damaged the economy. Just go and look at all the countries, even certainly the ones that the governments have fallen. Just go and look at them. What was the main issue that made them go to the streets? The first thing, it is about the economy. And even we can see it right now. I was going through the one I was saying about yesterday, Iran. Why is it having all those demonstrations? It's about the economy. The shilling, their money dinar is falling down. It is, I think one Irani, I don't know what they call the name, is $1 million. $1 is 1 million. That money of Iran. So why are they out in the street? They're not out in the street because there is no roads which are being built. They're out in the street because the economy is broken. And how do you break the economy? You break the economy when the government thinks about itself only. There is too much corruption, rampant corruption. There is no uphold of rule of law. There is too much, the government officials who have been given the mandate, even the MPs, they don't even do the mandate they are given. They are just laying down with the government. That is where the issue is really coming. I'm telling you, Marco Bura, hata mkitaka kutengeneza hizo barabara za hewa, hata hizo jinsi watengeneza Thika hivi ama wapi. People are going to remember you as a president who fell down the economy. And that's why people remember Kibaki, even though Kibaki, Kibaki was a president who was very controversial because some view him like a very tribal president. Others view him like a president who was very, who took Kenya through the darkest moments of the post-election violence. But even as we remember him because of those things, one more thing is always outstanding with Kibaki, and it is that he was able to build the economy of Kenya from where Moi had left it. Then we come to Uhuru. Uhuru, by the way, he built very, very many things, infrastructure. But what do people remember him for? He damaged the economy. People remember him for that. And that one is a very big fault that he did. So we are coming to this president. He came with the promise of building the economy. But is he doing that? If he's not going to build this economy, nobody will remember him because he has built a road from I don't know where to where. Because the road, even if you build a road for somebody, and that person is being cut all these taxes. I hear even they add in the taxes, even there's another one which is going to be brought. I don't think it's called railway levy, and so many shenanigans taxes. People are not going to remember you because of all those. Hata Uhuru alitengeneza SGR, kafika kule ilifika, katengeneza mabarabara, lakini wengi wetu tukumbuki barabara. I was even arguing with Leo, not Leo, was called Simbanatea. He does not even know if Uhuru had built roads in Duyaland, and I gave him some of the roads. It's because we forgot about them. What we remember is Uhuru, but Uhuru, even the COVID also did him a major blow with the economy. But all we remember is Uhuru's economy agenda was very faulty. It was not good. So thank you, Marco. Good.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And I'll ask you this, and Migudo will give his take, and then you'll pick immediately. The economic reforms, and I can call it the economic diplomacy. Kenya's economic strategy is increasingly tied to regional markets and the foreign policy, often referred to as the economic diplomacy. With elections across Africa in 2027, Kenya's trade and diplomatic ties could be reshaped. And the question I'm asking you, Miguda and Joseph, is Kenya successfully positioning itself as East Africa's financial technology hub? What risks come with regional instability? You'll give me your take on that, Miguda. And then on the digital governance and technology, we're also seeing the government is pushing for digital governance reforms, aiming for efficiency and transparency. You know very well there is also this law that they're trying to come up with to do the monitoring of social media. It's still on, and of which we've seen quite a number of human activists have come out to criticize. Kenya's tech sector is also booming with electric vehicles and charging station expanding rapidly in Kenya. What does digital innovation intersect with politics? Are citizens benefiting from these reforms, or is it mostly rhetoric, Miguda? That is my second question. And then my third question again is under the affordable and the social policy, where the affordable housing projects such as those in Nakuru County are part of the government flagship programs. We've seen them quite in almost all the counties. Are these initiatives truly addressing inequality, or are they politically symbolic? Miguda.
I don't think that Kenya is big. If you can hear me, there's a complaint from our viewers that my mic is not doing good. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't want to delve into details, but I think it is in the public domain, and everybody knows. It is not East African financial hub, but it is an East African corruption hub. There are some realities, even if you try to oppose them. If you talk about the economical diplomacy, whereby you find out that even right now there is a company for steel in Uganda, Kenya-Uganda bilateral agreement. How does it benefit common wananchi? Look at its location. How does it even employ the Kenyans who are working there? It is Ugandans who are being employed. And by the time it was being launched, you saw Devki and the brothers were there. My friend, how much evidence do you need to say that it is business partnership between some families, but in the regime they have engaged the government of Kenya and Uganda? That is not for the betterment of the people. it's a business going on between those people. They know themselves. I don't want to delve into details. If you delve into details, you know what's going on. And last question. I'll skip the second one because it is more critical. The issue of affordable houses, Makubura. You know, when people are doing affordable houses, you look at them, they have been constructed, they look nice. So you think you are in Singapore. And it is not across the country. They've just mapped some stations. But remember, if you go to one day, if you have time, go to Eldoret. If you are in Eldoret town, take your route on West Market. It's a popular market in Eldoret called West Market. Then after you have passed West Market, you go to 64 Stadium. Then after 64 Stadium, before you reach an estate called Mwanzo, there are houses there, which today no one lives inside them. A very big, a very good, it has covered a vast of land, I can say, but many houses. If you ask any neighbor that who constructed these houses, they'll tell you that they were constructed in the time of Moi. They were affordable. No one lives inside them today. And even if you go to, I think we were with you on our way to Nyayo. I think there was a time we were with you looking for those houses at Nyayo. No one's living inside them today. These affordable houses you are seeing today, people say they're affordable, they are goods, whatever. In the next 30 years, no one would like to live inside them. So this is not Singapore. And you understand sometimes it's good to be realist, because what informed the construction? The steel company, those big families. So anyway, it's a business thing going on in the country, and that is what they have decided to do. But you know, I have a friend who have worked in those companies. Of course they were chased away, but remember he told me that they were being paid cash. So there's no even, the means of payment is not even legal. They're just being paid cash. They're being paid per day 1,000. That steel company, the one which supplies affordable houses with materials. So that's the best I can explain to you, because I don't want to beat around the bush. I don't want to sugar it. That's what is it. So Makubura, generally, in terms of the people, population, Kenya, economic diplomacy, we are zero. It's not what you are reading from your newspapers or from your source of news. It's the way around. Back to you.
Joseph, what are your views on the housing and social policy, the economic reforms, and the digital governance and the technology view?
Thank you, Marco Bura. I think Niguda has put it quite well. That all these houses you're seeing, they're very nice. Without proper management, the problem is when you have government houses. Government houses are not the same like private owned houses. We'll have houses that are going to look like the ones we had in Ngara. I don't know if you've ever gone to Ngara pale chini kuna nyumba zinakuwa pale karibu na tunaitaga aje huku watu wanaenda kutengeneza magari Grogon. Itawa Grogon. There's some houses which are around that area. I've been passing there sometimes where they always repair these vehicles and they put some sound systems into the vehicles. And if you go there, brother Mark, I think if you see those houses, and they were houses which were built ni nyumba za ghorofa tu, but even sewage system hakuna, brother Mark. Sewage system ilikuwa imetengenezwa, ilikuwa imeonyeshwa kusijui kwa mto, imefanywa, the houses have not even been made repairs, they have not even been painted, they look just the way. You know the problem is this money that that is being used for housing, where is it coming from? Where is this money coming from? This money is coming from the taxpayers, who are the citizens, who are the what do we call them? These civil servants. And these civil servants, they are the ones who are being used to be able to do these houses. Most of them, because the money we were told for was to come from the civil servants. So they're the ones who are paid for these houses. And every time they need to build new houses. So they don't have time to collect money to come back to be able to do the renovation. So I hear these houses, they have even lifts and they have all these kind of amenities. They are saying it's well and good for now. But what has been seen over the years is that the Kenyan government is unable to maintain its own infrastructure. It is quite a sad moment when they are trying to maintain the infrastructure. And it is more money that is asked for the taxpayers. So the question is truly, these houses, when they need maintenance, who will come and do the maintenance for it? Will it come back to the people of Kenya again to do the maintenance for them? Or what will happen? Then another question is, these houses were built in lands that were supposed to be public lands. So what will happen over due time when Ruto is not the president of the Republic of Kenya? What will happen? Because Ruto will not be a president there forever. What if he leaves the office, then people start going to court and they take, and people start to gather one by one and they go and say that is a public land and those houses need to be demolished. Where will those guys who have been able to buy houses in these lands be able to be compensated for the money that they have been paying? That is a true question, because these houses, they are not built in land that the government bought. Most of the land that they are building them on is land that was supposed to be either a place where there was supposed to be built a social hall, a place where it was supposed to be built. Like now, you can see in Kilifi, there was a problem because the place where they wanted to build this housing, it was supposed to be a park. And the people there have refused. They have said hakuna nyumba za houses zinatengenezwa hiyo place. Brother Marco Bura, I don't know if you are going to look at that video and if you see what they have done to the trees that were there. And they are not trees, just simple trees. They were indigenous trees. They have cut all the trees. And now they want to build houses, which are affordable houses in those areas. Even the people are asking them, why don't you find another land there and you go and build? Or you find another, why do you want to build it? And those houses, they want to build them. They want to build them just near the ocean line. They just want to build it near the Indian Ocean there. In is it Watamu? In Watamu, I think Kilifi. So even I've seen some people have gone to sue the government to the courts, because I think the courts are the ones which are remaining, which are a bit favorable for the people. But I'm asking, my question is, what if they come a rogue president who is going to say all the land that was taken by the previous regime needs to be returned? What will happen? Who will compensate these people? Because there is no day you're going to tell me that everybody in those houses is being given a title deed. There is no day you try to convince me that those guys, everybody is being given a title deed. And to top it off, those guys, if you hear how much is a studio going for, I'm even shocked. A studio is going for 650,000. I think even if people can do a quick math, I think 650,000, if you can be able to, the problem is we don't have the money with us in cash. But imagine maybe you have been a person who alikuwa mehaso, unapata ngiri 3 unapeleka kila mwezi. Then you find a rogue government who is saying watademolish hizo nyumba. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, where will you go to report? This is a riparian land. Hizi ni land za public. There is no public participation that has been happening for these lands. Even there in Watamu, people are bringing problems. There is no public participation. So those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. I can see sometimes Leo is very happy with those houses, but we don't know about the people who are going to come next, what they are going to think about, or even they are going to end that program of those houses. And they say they want to refund back the money that was taken, because most of them you are hearing, they are saying they need to refund even the money that has been taken from these guys who are being cut their money, because they say that their work is to help these guys who don't have houses. I wondered, is everybody not a grown up in this country? Just because you have been given work by the government, or the government has given you an opportunity, so it means that they can be able to cut you anyhow they want. So these things, I'm telling you, somebody will need to account for them. And that's why I came here and I told you, I'm seeing at a scenario where in the future, the president is going to account for everything that he has done. I'm telling you, he's going to account for each and everything. That's why I came here and I said the trajectory that we are heading into, with the leadership that is coming of the young people, they will not lay any stone unturned. Hata acha mawe hata moja ati imelala. They will unturn all of them, and the culprits will go to prison. They will go to prison very soon, because those things that they have done, taking lands, taking things that are not owned by the government, which are public, and they can do whatever they want, they can build whatever they want without public participation, even in the counties, it's so much problem. So thank you, Marco.
Miguda, you can give us your final remarks, and then Joseph, his final remarks before we close.
Thank you, Mark, for hosting us. Also, thank for Benson to host us. Also, I'd like to appreciate Joseph for coming to the show. Leo TV for coming to the show. And also appreciate our good friends, our good friend Goodia, for coming to the show and also contributing to the comment section. Laban Misiani, that is Simba Netaya, and other people. I'm able to see only those people. We meet tomorrow, but my last remark is that let us not pretend that we are praising something that is wrong because of circumstances. It is short-lived. Tomorrow it will catch up with us. And when it catch up with you, so be it. Let us stick to the reality, whatever circumstances, even if we are a minority. But tomorrow we'll be laughing because truth shall always prevail. Bye-bye, everybody. See you next time.
Okay, Joseph.
Thank you, Mark Buda, for hosting us today with Brother Benson, and for the panelists who have been here, Leo, Miguda, and the people in the comment section. Goody are always with us here. Thank you so much. We appreciate. And I can see also Shema was there. We also want to appreciate, and all the and even Laban, Simba, Natea. I want to appreciate them for coming to the show. So I have a question, Brother Marco Bura. Did you listen to the song I told you yesterday, or did not listen to it? You're muted, brother.
I'm saying I only listened to the one that Goodyear was talking about the one for this other lady.
You need to listen to the one I told you. You need to listen to it. And
You say what was the name?
I'll just give you the artist name. I'm writing for you right now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you listen to him. I don't know if the right spelling I've created, but you listen to him. Goodyear is saying there is no hiding. And I want to also, I told Goodyear that slaughter must be slaughtered. He joked with me. I think now he understands the meaning of me saying that slot must be slaughtered. Yesterday they drew. So I don't see any headway that is happening in Liverpool as the same as what is happening to us. I think those big three clubs have a problem: Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man United. And I heard that song for sijui simu yangu kwa nini imeniletea hiyo mambo ya hiyo wimbo ya sio Justina. Sikuwa nataka kusikia hiyo wimbo. Unajua nasikiaga hiyo wimbo nasikia mwaka inaanza kuenda tumbea. Inaenda nini? Itako nini? Anza kuenda mambo ambayo haiko mzuri, but we hope for the best. Can see Goodyear saying slaughtered. Yeah. We hope for the best. Thank you, Marco Bura, for hosting us. I hope everybody have a good evening. I was hoping to talk to Leo. Kama leo amekuwa busy. Hope we meet in another session.
Okay. Sasa. Good evening. I mean, happy 2026. Happy New Year. Yeah, so I think we'll just close. Allow me to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to everyone who joined. We really appreciate those of you who commented or communicated with us via the comment. We appreciate. Led by Goodyear, thank you so much. And everyone who also joined, we really appreciate. And I just want to remind you that this is Brother Benson Media, and here we say that your opinion counts. If you are watching for the first time, kindly like and subscribe. If you do so, it is a way of supporting us. Na sisi hapa tutasema ni asante. Yeah, so we'll call it a day. I want to wish you all a blessed night, a blessed morning, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much, and God bless you. See you again tomorrow.